everybody, Tony D. Little Jones asleep on the couch, so let's do a screenwriter's rant called In the Earth. New trailer. It's a horror movie. It's kind of like a green horror movie. And it's about a place in the woods that this guy is exploring, along with some of his scientist buddies. I don't think he's one of them. And strange things happen, and there are legends in the woods about an entity that lives there. And the question is it real? This is from the director of Kill List and High Rise. I'm not familiar with these movies, but you can see here there's an old tapestry with images of the goddess or whatever the creature is. And they go off into the woods, and quite quickly they can't seem to get out, and there's some strange entity there. And what I think it is, because there's a shot of these sort of mushrooms releasing spores, I think they're hallucinating. I think they're actually trapped in the woods, but I think it's a realistic, it's not a supernatural being. It's like the woods making it so they can't leave, right? And eventually they put on hazmat suits, but even that stops working, and she gets pulled down. So it's called In the Earth, and I think the In the Earth part, I think it's kind of like what the hell was that M. Night Shyamalan movie with Mark Wahlberg and the plants that made everybody kill each other and kill themselves? That one. I can't think of what it was called, but I think this is similar, but like a more concentrated version of that, so it can work a little better because it's done more as a horror movie. I guess that was supposed to be a horror movie too, but ultimately it came off, I think, badly because it was a little too ambitious. Whereas this is about horror and the unknown, whereas that was about making a big statement about something that nobody quite got. I guess it was a climate thing, and this can be that too, but I think because it's more concentrated and it's in a particular area, that it can be presented in a more realistic manner, because the implication could be there's this rare flora that is in this part of the woods that does things to people, and no one ever comes back, right? And then that way, that explains the legend, right? So ancient people would know that anybody who goes in this area never comes back, and they build a mythos around that. And it's also, I think the cast is English, so it probably takes place in England, maybe in some obscure wood that's mostly unexplored or untouched. So that could work. I think that could work. Whereas I think, the worldwide event, I think it was called The Happening. Was that it? The worldwide event of The Happening. It was too big. It was too big, too ambitious. There were scenes that were unintentionally funny, and it just didn't work. This, I think, could work. Now, I don't know if it could work. I do like the cast because they didn't look like actors. They actually looked more like scientists to me. So I think this is probably an English production with English actors, probably out of the BBC. Let's see. Written and directed by Ben Wheatley from Rook Films. I don't recognize any of the actors' names. Neon and Rook Films. Yeah, so I'm not too sure. In theaters, April 23rd. April 23rd. And I like this whole look of the lettering backwards and stuff. Just like every once in a while there's a letter backwards or upside down. I think that adds to it. The whole thing is very mysterious, but at the same time intriguing to me. So I would think the first act would be something like, probably you'd see the previous group who was in the woods and they don't come back, or you see signs of them and no one knows what happened to them. Maybe one guy comes back and like mysteriously kills himself, after coming back and talking to one of the guys, and then they decide to go into the woods to do this scientific exploration and possibly look for the other people. And slowly the woods start to get creepier and creepier, right? As they get closer to the entity, whatever it is, they start to hallucinate and see things, and you don't know if it's hallucination or actually supernatural. And eventually they start putting the pieces together, but since it's a horror movie, it's a little too late. They're trapped. They try to get out of the woods. They can't figure their way out, that maybe the actual woods are against them. And they're running out of time. If they don't get out of the woods, they're all going to die. And that would be the second act. And then the third act is about whether or not one of them survives or not. Maybe one of them survives only to die shortly thereafter, or bring some of the evil with him. I think the guy survives. That's my gut feeling. Is the main protagonist, the male character, he somehow survives, but maybe he brings the evil with him. So it looks interesting. In the Earth, April 23rd. I'm giving it an upvote. Looks unusual. I mean, again, I mean, similar to The Happening, but I think the execution looks a lot cooler.